It is the largest two-year college in Arkansas with nearly 12,000 students enrolled. It is the fourth largest public higher education institution in the state. 7 campuses, scores of degrees, and a nearly $50 million budget. Pulaski Technical College has been not on a growth spurt, but a growth flood for 2 decades. Joining me to talk business is Dr. Margaret Ellibee, president of Pulaski Techs.
Hi, Roby. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the program.
Glad
to have you. I'm glad to sit down with you. You and I have not had a chance. You're relatively new in the state still. We still consider you a newcomer. Tell me how your acclimation to Arkansas has been coming.
I consider myself a transplant. I started my teaching career here in Arkansas in 1983 in Stuttgart. And so I was here in the state for 6 years, received my master's at Fayetteville, so I'm a Razorback, and then went off and started my career and had the good fortune to be able to come back to Arkansas and have this position and work with tremendous people in a great community. I
cited some statistics in your introduction there about the phenomenal growth of Pulaski Technical College. Why is the demand so great for this particular school?
Well, our growth since 1991 basically has been 1,000%. And when you talk to people and educators and communities about that meteoric rise, it just makes people head spin. And I think our demand and demand of technical colleges, community colleges across the country is the fact that people are wanting a degree where they can go immediately into work and also pursue a higher education. Many of the degrees are in technical areas which are demanded right now by business and industry. So that gives us an advantage to provide a quality education for folks who are seeking those degrees and seeking those careers.
I hear a lot really from some of the businesses that I talk to. I know where some of those strengths are, but I want you to kind of give our viewers and listeners a little bit of a bigger overview. Aerospace is huge, healthcare huge, computers.
We have tremendous diversity in our community as far as business and industry. And it's the mission of our college that we align ourselves with those industries. And at Pulaski Technical College, for example, we have a tremendous culinary program. And you look at the hospitality industry just in Little Rock, but it's certainly in Arkansas. Our culinary and hospitality program has over 500 students in it. We have a tremendous allied health program that includes nursing, for example. We have partnerships with Baptist, with St. Vincent's, with Children's. We have programs, again, that students can go into in those health-related fields and then be employed. We have tremendous partnerships with business and industry here in our state, and certainly in central Arkansas. Whether it's smaller businesses, medium-sized or large, L'Oreal, Dassault, RP Power right here in Little Rock and North Little Rock, we are able to meet their demands with quality students and quality skills.
Tell me about the adaptability on that, because you have to move very quickly. I mean, the needs in some of those industries change very quickly. This is not a static course content.
No, it's not.
So tell me how you're a little bit more flexible in terms of doing that versus some four-year schools or even other institutions.
We have, I think we're very fortunate at our college to have very good faculty. And in our technical programs, those faculty come from that industry. The other advantage that we have in our technical programs is we have advisory committees for those programs. And those advisory committees have business and industry representatives on them. And those committees advise our faculty on the needed and demanded skills, the level of those skills, and what's being looked at in the future, and how we can take that information and put it right in our program so we can respond very quickly.
This meteoric growth that you've talked about, it doesn't look like it's subsiding anytime soon. So how do you plan, how are you preparing for more future growth, and what does some of it entail?
Well, the growth that we have right now, we've been very fortunate where our growth right now is about 12,000 students. What we have to look for in the future is additional funding if we want to add more buildings, if we want to add more faculty, that kind of thing.
Do you want to?
I think we're going to have to if we continue on this quality journey we've been on and our tradition of excellence. I think we're going to have to. But that growth coincides with the demand for these programs, and we're going to have to meet that demand and maintain that and sustain our college over time.
How do you pay for it?
Well, that's another good question. There are different avenues and funding streams on how we can pay for that. We get a certain amount of funds, $14 million approximately, from the state. The rest, 60% of our funding, comes from student tuition and fees. And we get a little bit of federal money. But what we have to look at is, will that sustain, will that proportion of funding sustain the college over time? And with rising costs and more people wanting to come to our college, we're at a nexus. And I think we're going to have to discuss and look very carefully at, are there other funding streams that can supplement what we have so we can meet the demand of our public, because they want a quality school with quality programs. They want to be able to get in those programs right away. They don't want to wait. And that makes us look at, okay, well, maybe we're going to have to look at different funding so we can do that.
Let's talk too about just how higher education in general is changing in terms of the students that are coming to different colleges at all different levels. You've got these, what I call digital immigrants, these people who've grown up on technology. You have this suggestion of MOOCs out there now and online courses, and maybe just tell me how all of that is transforming the delivery of higher education, and are you guys prepared to capitalize on some of that?
Yeah, and we're doing that right now. We have about 5,000 students who are taking online courses right now. And that's great for learners who can work on a computer and do that type of learning and do it at home, which is very effective and efficient for them. That's great. Our other learners at our college, and I'm one of them, I'm very visual and hands-on, and we have a lot of learners like that at our college. And so then those learners like to have the courses on campus, the labs on campus, which are very contextual or applied, and we have to be able to meet the needs of all of those learners. What we're looking at, as far as you mentioned MOOCs, these very big online courses, we want to make sure what we offer online is quality, and we have quality standards in place for our online courses. We want to make sure our students, when they want to take it online, they are fully aware of what is expected of them when they take it. So are you going to be able to take that online course and be able to focus, or are you going to have to deal with your family or other distractions? And that quality is essential to us.
You cannot pick and choose, well, you can't be all things to all people. Higher education tries to be all things to all people in a lot of respects. Does that equation have to change some too?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think what we have to do for our community is be able to respond to what they need. We have a very rich and diverse community here in Little Rock and North Little Rock, and our enrollment reflects that. And I think we need to be able to take students who come to us and perhaps don't read at a 9th grade level, get them to that level, and then get them on to a very good career with the possibility of them going on to higher education and achieving their dream. We want to be able to take the 30-year-old who may have that 4-year bachelor's degree, comes back to us because they can't find a job or something in their life has happened, and give them a skill and additional education where they can go on and be productive professional people. I think what we have to do is look at that continuum and see what we can do both ourselves and then partnering with other nonprofits, partnering with business and industry, and then deliver an educational system that maybe is not so traditional as the way we've been looking at funding.
And there's a direct correlation between education and income. I've got a graphic I want to pull up here. Some a new study from the Arkansas Research Center that was recently released. This is about 70,000 data points, so it's a pretty thorough deal here. It talks about this tie between education and money. If you have a high school diploma, you're likely to make about $15,000 a year, looking at the statistics. An associate's degree bumps you up over $27,000. A bachelor's degree, almost $39,000 in terms of annual income. And if you do additional studies beyond that, you're making big bucks like you, over $52,000 a year. I'm sure it's bigger than that. Is it that simple? Education equals more money, or do you think that perhaps some of the folks who can afford these types of degree programs have the privilege to make more money because of the opportunity they have?
Well, I think it's education and experience. If we have, our average age at our college is 30 years old. And if we have students come to us that have a high school degree and they haven't achieved that 2-year degree, they get the 2-year degree and then they go on to UALR or go on to UALR and also get a job. Then they're on that pathway, as I call it, to success. They are achieving a great wage, they're supporting their family, they're taxpayers, hopefully they're giving back to their community, and they're doing it all. And I think if 2-year colleges can provide those pathways to success, where it's not either a job or higher ed, but it's both, then you are creating a community of learners, lifelong learners, and contributing members to society. And I think that's where we need to go.
All right, we got to end it there. Dr. Margaret Ellibee with Pulaski Technical College. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Arkansas's unemployment rate, is it heading in the right direction? If I'm having to ask, probably not. We'll go inside the numbers from the latest jobless report from the state. And later, Carol Smith with Delta Trust and Bank joins me to talk about what's trending in the residential and commercial real estate markets here in Arkansas. I'm Roby Brock. This is Talk Business. We're back right after this.